That was definitely an aha moment. I thought, yeah, that's it. One beautiful, holistic word that connects, in Bohm's terms, the implicate order, the source of consciousness, with the explicate order, this physical reality around us, seemingly very different, yet connected by a flow of wholeness that he called the Holomovement. And so we can see that no matter how separate or different things seem, they are all one.
Hi, my name is Senka Caro, and I'm founder of LightNet and the Holomovement Purpose Lab. And my purpose and passion is to completely remove the word impossible from the dictionary. I am here today with Emanuel Kuntzelman, the Visioneeer of the Holomovement. He is an author, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and philosopher. And his book, Holomovement, Embracing Our Collective Purpose to Unite Humanity, is just one of the many ways he is igniting this movement around the world. In addition to the Holomovement, he's founded Purpose Earth, a grant-making organization that is supporting incredible projects around the world. Before that, he founded Greenheart International, an exchange program around the world, and Fundación del Futuro in Madrid. He is an incredible man. He's an incredible leader. And he does this with his unwavering vision, his kindness, his knowledge of humanity, and of course, his incredible humor. I'm excited for you to meet him.
Well, I've discovered that my purpose, like perhaps 8 billion other people on the planet, is to serve the good of the whole, to have a notion of my karma, my dharma, my whole sense of being, and how that works to improve society and contribute to the evolution of the consciousness of humankind. So it's really about finding a path to the way that we can best serve and therefore make ourselves fulfilled and happy. And it kind of is a positive feedback loop that makes us more inspired, more creative, more joyful. It all works together when we're in sync with our purpose. And if it is a purpose of service for the good of all, then that kind of gives us even more stronger feedback loop there that activates all the goodness in our heart and soul, and it all comes together in a sort of flow wave of energy, goodwill, and kindness. So I try to stay in touch with that, feel it, absorb it, and spread it out as best I can to facilitate a coming together of humanity in service to finding solutions to the multiple challenges we have at this point in time, finding a way we can work together, act as one in the flow of the whole. Nature does that, and we can do that as well by finding our purpose in a sense of service. Well, the Holomovement concept came to me through the impetus of a professor in college, and it was actually sociology professor, Dr. Jeffrey Haddon. And he explained to our class that there were enormous challenges facing the world. This was way back in the 1970s, so his ideas were rather revolutionary at the time. But he described a exponential graph over time and quantities on the vertical axis. And he plotted in all kinds of components of quantities: world population, environmental deterioration, technology, armament growth. And he put them all together, and he showed that everything as time, if we go back to the year zero and we graph it slowly, all of these quantities grow slowly. And then as we hit the 20th century, the curve goes straight upwards in the growth of many factors. Some could be beneficial, technology, we don't know yet. but others, population, environmental deterioration, armaments, and such are clearly negative indicators. And what he said is we're running literally out of time. As the graph moves straight upwards on the exponential curve, the time graph falls out of the picture. So very clear message there that we're literally running out of time. And he proposed to the class that as sociology students, we needed to find a solution. What could we as individuals do or contribute in our life to help resolve this meta crisis? And that was our assignment. So that's what really got me thinking about this. And I described at the time in my paper for that course that it had to be some kind of wheel, and that all the spokes of the wheels were different contributors, organizations, like-minded entities contributing, and that my work should be to create a solid hub to connect the spokes of the wheel. So it would flow, it would work, and the hub would hold it all together. So that was the original concept. Then in 1984, another mentor of mine, Dr. David Tiedemann, suggested that I read a series of books to help develop this idea. And one of those books was Wholeness in the Implicate Order by physicist David Bohm. And in that book, I came across the word holomovement. And that was definitely an aha moment. I thought, yeah, that's it. One beautiful, holistic word that connects, in Bohm's terms, the implicate order, the source of consciousness, with the explicate order, this physical reality around us, seemingly very different, yet connected by a flow of wholeness that he called the holomovement. And so we can see that no matter how separate or different things seem, they are all one. And this concept seemed surprisingly profound, yet simple. And one word describing the whole by a man like David Bohm, who dedicated his life to furthering human understanding and, above all, finding the secrets of the infinite potential in the quantum field and explaining that to us, I felt it was a very apt term to do and describe this hub of the wheel. So I put that all together. That was back in 1984. I developed a wave theory and a whole levels of consciousness, and I really had the idea quite clear in my mind, and then realized now I have to get to work and really find my purpose in life, practical purpose, life work, generate some resources. So it took me another 30 years or so to re-implement all of that while I was busy organizing cultural exchange and other business activities. So everything takes its time. The holomovement's been a work in motion since the beginning of the universe. I was just fortunate enough to be in a couple of places with some wonderful mentors to give me the hints for the next paces on the path and put a few concepts together. But the holomovement is always there, always will be, and is what connects us all to the source of consciousness as we work our way through this physical realm. Well, I think the holomovement can bring so many things to us. One thing I suggest and have been talking about is it has to help us understand that we are part of the whole and dissolve our sense of separateness and being distinct and different. We're all in this together. And that once we do, then we gain a broader clarity of this wholeness, and that we aren't just one little special being ourselves, but we're moving in the flow of the entirety of existence. And as we begin to absorb that notion, it really aids us from the inside out, from the depths of our heart, to understand that we can give up our anger and our grievances We carry such a huge karmic baggage. No matter what our background in this life or previous lives, if you believe in that, we accumulate this karma. We're part of a group, and every group has their grievances and their complaints, and it festers and fosters anger inside of us. And the Holomovement is there to help us understand the oneness and help make it easy to say, I just need to drop those grievances. Surely I've done wrong to others many times. They probably have grievances to me. Life isn't about adding up or calculating our hardships or grievances. It's about finding the joy and the beauty and the glory in the human soul to carry this forward. And so the Holomovement kind of begins to flow through us and activate the wholeness, the oneness, and the sense of truth, beauty, and goodness that probably we've lost touch with over the years as a result of cultural accommodation and socialization and living in societies for so many years. It is kind of a constant drumbeat of separation and materialism. But once we can calm all those thoughts and get back to our true self, then we understand the wonder and the joy and the beauty in our soul, and we can begin to feel our real selves. And this is a sensation that can spread very quickly. It's a great idea whose time has come. It was always there. And as it awakens within us, I think it will calm down the conflicts in society and bring us together. And it will be like a soothing wave of comfort, of deeper understanding, of meaning that, we're not just calculating our material accumulation of possessions or money or something in life, that we're accumulating this blessed experience of sharing the wonder and joy, the beauty of this day right now together with everyone. And as the Holomovement seeps in, a broad base of humanity, I think, will be willing to see that, awaken to it, feel it, express it to others. And it's a very contagious, self-fulfilling flow of this sense of wholeness and service to the whole. And so, it's not going to be something that happens overnight. It'll take time, but as it flows, it's now ignited and it's moving outward. I think it'll take effect. And, it's like children find forgiveness as one of their superpowers. They're the sector of society that, to forgive isn't a big problem. Actually, it's a superpower because it feels so good when you let it go. And so I think the Holomovement helps us forgive people that might have done us wrong, forgive ourselves for maybe misinterpreting things, just drop all that past baggage of karma and find a new dharma, which is our purpose of service to the whole. And that is a very profound shift. It takes place a little bit subtly, but all of a sudden, it's like a surfer catching a wave. You sit out there wading, paddling, floating around, and then all of a sudden, you feel this swell, this energy of profound goodness welling up behind you. And you go, yeah, I just need to stand up on my purpose board and ride it forward. And I think that's what will happen. I believe in the human spirit, and I think we can come together and join on the great wave together. Well, the struggles and challenges have been many. So I think it's wise to be aware of that for all of us, especially young people setting out on their journeys and awakening their own purpose. clearly life has its ups and downs and challenges. And finding your purpose within the context of the Holomovement isn't going to be readily accepted at first by a lot of people in our lives. It's just natural. Culture is rather conservative by nature. Culture is created for the preservation of a group, a tribe, a nation, whatever. And if it works, then it becomes very firm and we become very attached to that culture. And so there are cultures all over the world, different sizes, degrees, and intensity, but it's all telling us this is the way it is. This is the message from the past, and anything that sounds a little bit new, such as a Holomovement, oneness, all this, the culture you're in, we're all in, will challenge us on that. And it's not always easy. Myself, when I was starting to implement these things, there was, of course, the usual pressures of, okay, well, that's nice. Philosophy's wonderful. You need to get a good job, make money, pay the bills, handle your mortgage, whatever, all the rest. And philosophers often end up going broke. So just like artists and dreamers and everyone else. So, get real, get down to it and get on with your life, sort of speaking. But that's when we really have to be true to our calling. That said, we can find a right livelihood within that to make our living. We have to, and we should. I was fortunate enough to discover cultural exchange, and I felt it was a really true right livelihood of bringing people together and opening their minds and broadening their horizons. So I was able to work within that context. But I might just tell one brief story that I think is really indicative of society's challenges and how I faced them. I was studying in France at the Sorbonne University for a while, and I was taking this course on French civilization and theater. And the teacher gave us one main paper to write for the entire course. And it was to compare the use of irony between Voltaire and a Romanian playwright named Eugene Ionesco. And so we were supposed to compare the use of irony by Voltaire and Ionesco, talk about what irony is, how they both used it, what the differences were, and expound on that. Well, I ended up writing a dialogue as if Voltaire and Ionesco were together in the same place and time, and they were having a debate between themselves about irony. And it was actually, if I do say so myself, incredibly funny. And I spent hours and hours researching, and it was in French. I had to look up all these words. I did puns, plays on words. The whole thing was about irony squared and personified. And I remember giving it to my roommate. He read it and he said, "This is the most hilarious thing I've ever said," but yet an incredible sense of both the spirit of Voltaire and Ionesco. And so I was so deeply proud of this paper. And I turned it in, and the day I got it back from the professor, there were big red writings on it and said, this paper can't even be graded because it's not done in the tradition of French academics and is unacceptable, and you'll have to rewrite it. And I was really distraught and not too happy after all that. And I argued with the teacher. I said, you don't understand. Isn't the exercise of this to gain a deeper understanding of Voltaire, Ionesco, the problems of society, how irony helps us to smooth those things out and make it aware to others in a kinder sort of way? Didn't I demonstrate that I think I understand the idea there? She goes, "You can't write a make-believe play dialogue between two people that didn't coincide. No, it's not acceptable. So anyway, I was walking home after that discussion with my roommate, and he said, "That's terrible. What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit school." And he said, "Oh, now come on, don't. Yeah, I know you're in an emotional moment. Don't make any drastic, life-changing decisions. What are you going to do?" I said, "No, really, I am going to quit school. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it right here and now. Before I have second thoughts." I went back to my flat, packed my backpack, walked off to the nearest metro, said to my friend, "Let everybody know at school I'm okay and that I've quit. And I'll see you sometime." And I got in the metro and took it to the train station and looked up at the board and took the first train to somewhere and never looked back. And of course, my parents and other people weren't entirely happy about that decision. But becoming a college dropout, as it were, was probably the best decision I ever made in my life. And it set me off on a spiritual search where I really gained a true education in the way and the meaning that I needed, and it changed my life forever. And it was a decision that led to me being able to fully understand implications of the Holomovement and put it into practice. So those are the kinds of situations that life will confront us with, and sometimes it does require a life-changing decision, because if you've given it your best and you know you understand the object of the project and it's not accepted by society, then you have to go your own way and take a different path. So the challenges are there. It requires a little bit of seeming insanity, perhaps, in a moment, but it's about courage and loyalty to your own vision and to what you in your heart knows is right. And you just have to stay the path. And yeah, there'll be years here and there where things get thrown out of whack and it seems difficult, but stay true to yourself and we'll all find a way. Yeah, well, the opportunity to live my true purpose has had a profound effect on the people around me. Maybe early on, not necessarily positive. When you tell people you're trying to fuse science and consciousness, science and spirituality into one practical philosophical notion, these things sound rather abstract and unusual. And most people, I remember the father of one of my early girlfriends when I was already trying to explain this stuff. He looked at me and said, "Yeah, you know, Emanuel, there are places for people like you. They're called monasteries." I considered spending some time in a monastery. I think it's a great idea. I didn't totally get around to that. But, the initial effect when you're really following your purpose and it doesn't quite fall into some sort of mainstream expectation is the people are going to doubt you. They're going to question you. And that has to be an incentive for us to just double down on our purpose and make it clearer so that those doubts generally fade away. And as they do, I think everyone admires people who really stick to their purpose and hang in there and know it and get a deeper sense of it. And as one can do that and develop things, then the original skepticism kind of turns to, okay, maybe acceptance, and maybe that kind of finally grows into, maybe this crazy guy kind of knows what he's doing after all, and I'm glad he's my friend. and I'm glad they're my friends, and we're all friends together in the end. So it's a process, but people do want to see each other survive, thrive, and go forward. There are ups and downs. There are lots of emotions in the process. But we all want to see each other fulfilled. And as we do that together, then it all helps us find that momentum, that feeling together, and move forward. So it is a growing positive feedback loop of mutual respect between ourselves and the world around us. And people love to see one triumph in a small way on a strange idea that can help others. With this, it's really the spirit of service, I think, that carries the day at the end, that when people begin to understand that we're in this for the good of the whole, that makes a big difference. And we all respect that. So I'm just so pleased that I have so many wonderful people in my life, that I wouldn't be here or be accomplishing or doing any of this without the support, love, and understanding of so many others. So nothing about my life is a project of my own or an accomplishment of my own. It's only been my ability to try and understand the process and the feelings and flow with others, and find a way that we can all work together and respect and love. For people who haven't found their purpose or understand it, I guess, first of all, I would say your purpose isn't lost. It's just kind of latent or dormant, perhaps, in your own perception of reality. We all have a purpose. We all have a very common purpose, which is finding human kindness and love and living and working together. And within that, then we have an individual purpose that is closely linked to our skills, to our inclinations, what makes us joyful. So it's really taking our skill set and our talents, and therefore our joy, and combining that with service to the whole to make existence for humanity more thriving, more promising, and turn things around. And taking the two and moving them together, and the interface between service to the whole combined with our own individual skill set and lovings and longings, there is a place where that fits together, and it ignites this aha moment. Like, oh yeah, I could do that, and it would help people, and I'd like to do it. And there comes a moment. It takes time. Maybe it grows gradually. But if we open ourselves to that possibility and believe it's there, and understand our own calling and responsibility to follow that path, let it push us forward. We're not looking for something back there that's been lost. We're looking something future-oriented, drawing us towards what we really were born to be and do in this life. And as we feel the joy and the understanding, and we're motivated to move in that direction, it becomes ever easier to locate that and claim it for our own, our birthright of what we were brought here to do and be.